So the first workshop is going to be texture rubbing. I really love this workshop because it's inviting us to engage with our environment in a physical way, in a way that we might not normally do on a daily basis, and you might get some interesting results. It hopefully also invites us to pause and take some time to look at a place that we might pass every day, but look at it in a different way. For this workshop, you will just need some paper. Thin paper works best, so printer paper works really well, and I'm using a roll from a cheap paper roll from a craft shop, or it might have been IKEA. Other shops are available. I've got a mixture of different pencils. The graphite stick works really well. I know not everyone may have a graphite stick at home. They're really cheap to buy online. If you did really enjoy this workshop, you could get one for under £2 or in a art shop. The smaller textures work better with smaller pencils, so depending on what you're going to be rubbing on, whether it's a smooth surface or bark on a tree, bear in mind what you've got to use will affect the rubbing. I think I should have brought some crayons with me today, and you might be able to see how it takes a little bit longer with the smaller pencil, although it is doable and you can find a way to trace around the marks that you're using. So the drain that I traced over, I really like the shapes, but I had to focus quite hard on kind of finding the edges. But if you've got time, then you can spend 5-10 minutes doing that and get some really good effects with that. There's something very simple and kinesthetic about this workshop, and it allows you to connect with the physical space around us. I think two of the many things that I enjoy about being creative is being allowed or allowing myself to look at things from other angles in another way, and we don't often give ourselves or have the time to do that, and I think this workshop does that really well in a really simple way. If you have access to charcoal from a wood fire, it's really fun if you've got time to use some charcoal. A burnt, cold piece of wood that's been burnt in the fires picks up some really nice textures. What can be really nice about the rubbing on the paper is turning the paper around at different angles and layering your textures. So using perhaps the same texture but from a different position on the paper, you can create different patterns, and turning the paper around, you can make different shapes with the same texture that you're rubbing on. So for example, you could use a plank of wood but make different angles, like the way that I've sort of done it here, or you could even layer up different textures. So you could use a concrete pavement and then layer on some of that on top with some wood or something else. It's also really nice to experiment with the colour. So I haven't done an awful lot of colour here, but you can use different crayons and different colours to sort of layer up those on the same piece of paper as well. I'll be talking a little bit about layering in another workshop, and it's just fun to experiment, and bright colours and simple shapes just work really well from an aesthetic point of view. It doesn't have to be too complicated. With the results, you can use the paper that you've made marks on for wrapping presents, framing some of them for a wall piece in your home, or a birthday card. Also, later we'll be making some simple paper folding sculptures, and if you like, you can combine these two workshops together and use the paper with the texture on to make your paper sculpture, which we're going to be doing in another session.